Has Bitcoin come out of the distribution box? If you are interested in this issue, please follow me. You are very welcome to use my Bybit link. Now, as long as you deposit $100 in KYC, I will immediately give you $1,000 worth of Bitcoin contracts position. This is a real contract position. That is, when you make money, you can directly close the position, withdraw coins and leave. Now Bybit has an exclusive lottery event. You only need to deposit $1 and you can draw a lottery once. Then as long as you deposit $100, you can draw 10 times. The above-mentioned gifts can be drawn for everyone. There are experience gold, short positions, game consoles, gold bars, VIP experience cards, etc. This is really very, very good. Let's go back to Bitcoin. We are now on the board. In fact, many friends in our group are discussing whether we have stepped out of a distributed box in this place. Well, why do I use the 12-hour level? Because it is better to frame this box in 12 hours. But in fact, 4 hours is also possible. We can look at it this way. If we start from 4 hours, we can find that 4 hours is not very good. Well, what can we find? If we say that this is a distribution box, if we for distribution, we only look at the white area, I think it is absolutely unreasonable. It is absolutely unreasonable. Even if he goes to the distribution area, he is also like this. He also needs to include the entire box. It is impossible to only have the upper part. Why? Let us come. Let's take a look. If he walks in the white box above us is a distribution, then what can you find out? Rounding up to 33 days after he breaks the box, he should start a direct plunge. He should not continue to oscillate. You can see the time of his subsequent oscillating. And then he walked for 21 days, distributed for 32 days. And then after the box was broken, he stuck to it and vibrated for 21 days. Can we still call this white box a distribution? Absolutely not. Even if he didn't go straight down, it is okay. After a very weak rebound, he should start to plummet. He shouldn't be in this place and continue to oscillate for so long. Especially if we compare the two periods of shock. If it matches, we can review how fast it would have gone if we had become a distribution box on the daily line in the past. You can find out why we didn't take it out after we got out of a distribution here. Including because of the false breakthrough this time. He is not included in the box. Because the upper edge of the box is about 63,000. You can find that there is a shock below him after we go through the distribution box. Is it different? When he broke down, there was a drop of this level at that time. You can clearly distinguish this level of breakout. Regardless of the amount or the length of the K line. It is a real breakout. When a distribution area breaks down, it goes as we just mentioned above. We were so impressed at this place at 519. After we broke down, it directly fell to 519. At that time, it was very, very miserable. It was very, very miserable and there was a sharp drop. There was also a distribution area in this place. At that time, we walked here for about 120 days. To be precise, it was about 118 days. In the distribution area, when he breaks, there will be a sharp drop immediately. He will not say that we continue to grind in this place after the break. And the grinding time is almost as long as the time he walked above. It is impossible and absolutely impossible. So even if we regard the current oscillating box as a distribution, even if we first judge it as a distribution, it may be a distribution. Then it is definitely not only the upper area, but it is definitely included together with the bottom here. If it is together with the bottom, if it is counted in, we can measure how many chips he distributed in this position. The premise is that if this place is distributed, if it is distributed here, then he will distribute it here for 54 days. The transaction volume of 544k bitcoins. Then these transactions measure whether he can reverse our rise since 15,500. The answer is no. Why say no? Because we are in the fund accumulating box below. In fact, once we have a box for distribution, if we are here for distribution, of course he may not be it. I personally think the probability of him is relatively small. Which is why I didn't short. If it's distribution here, he's selling chips. Where did he buy the chips from? This is very important. Because it's about if we break down, what price will he fall to? Is it from the chips here or the chips here? I think it is the second chip compared to the upper part. Why this we can know from the measurement that we have accumulated the chips in the lower part. What's more, 62 days is actually not much different from the time above. But the amount of energy is much worse. Our accumulated amount of energy below is 1.6 million, which is 5 times that of the above. So even if we distribute here is below the chips he bought are far from enough. Far from enough. Because the volume below is too large. And he distributes them here. The chips he sold are at most just the chips bought at the position below. Let's take a look at this position. It is about 42 days and 484,000 bitcoins. So you can find our two sides, they are roughly equal. If we buy our goods from here and then sell them from here, then if we go up to the distribution box and break it down, it will at most reach the lower edge of the box. This place is 25,000. So if we break 25,000 from this box, I believe it will be a relatively clear target. Then we will draw our trend line on the current disk. This trend line is actually ours. I have been tossing about this place for a long time. I mean, we touched the above place twice in a row. If we cut the level down a bit and cut it to 4 hours, you can find that it has slowly converged. That is, we will definitely choose a direction. You can find that the downward trend line above is what I value most now. If it breaks upwards, it must have quantitative energy. If there is no quantitative energy, the breakthrough is slowly going up. And I didn't say no. But we must see the amount of energy in the future. Well, if we break here, then if he says it really breaks, it must have a huge amount of energy. If the amount of energy is not large, I think that if it breaks here and the amount of energy is not large, then the probability of being reversed is very high. Why? Because you can see that we are in at the level of 4 hours and 4 hours and 6 hours. We are walking ahead of the short position. In 4 hours and 6 hours, it is absolutely dominated by the short position. And we are so close to this trend line. At this time, I believe in the sentiment of short selling. It will definitely be very strong. If we say that we have no amount to break down, and there are many short selling people, I believe that being counterkilled at this time is definitely the outcome with a relatively high probability. If it is even slowly worn out, then at this time, you must be very, very careful. Thank you very much. You are very welcome. You can help me like my video. Subscribe and share. Turn on the little bell is the biggest support for me. Thank you very much. Bye bye.